Is this the end of everything? A meeting that was supposed to be Haru's moment turned into the most thrilling moments in BTS history. The world suddenly fell silent when Kim Taehyung, one of the main pillars of BTS, suddenly revealed a truth that had been closely hidden. Even more surprising, shortly after the confession, Jungkook, the youngest member and known for always being strong, shed tears in front of everyone. The question is the reunion a sign of separation? Is BTS really over? This reunion is supposed to be a symbol of new hope for the army around the world. After a long period of military service, individual busyness, and time gap, the 7 BTS members finally met again in one room. The world is looking forward to the moment with great enthusiasm. Thousands of media cameras were fixed on them. Millions of army eyes were looking at the screen in the hope of seeing togetherness as before. However, no one expected that amid warm hugs and nostalgic laughter, a truth would change everything. In a closed-door session that was leaked to the public via a short video, Taehyung suddenly spoke honestly about his feelings over the past few years. His tone was calm, but the look in his eyes showed such a heavy burden. He admitted that during this time, he felt there was a wider distance between himself and some members, especially after BTS decided to focus more on solo projects. He mentioned that he had thought about stepping down, not because he was tired of working, but because he felt that he had lost the connection that had been the main foundation of BTS. Taehyung's words instantly created a wave of silence. The other members look surprised, some look agitated. But the most emotional is Jungkook. The Golden Magne is known to be always cheerful and full of energy, unable to contain his tears. She rested her head in both hands, crying in silence. When asked for comment, Jungkook simply said, "I didn't know this would come from Taehyung. This hurts." YB Entertainment, the agency that houses BTS, responded very cautiously. In an official statement, they said the reunion was a form of emotional recovery and open communication between the members, and asked fans not to draw conclusions too early. But the statement only strengthened the suspicions of the public. If everything is fine, why is it necessary to ask not to assume? What makes the situation even more complicated is the emergence of speculation about Taehyung's individual projects that will reportedly be very different from BTS's mainstream. Some sources say that Taehyung is designing a very personal art and music project, even planning to stay outside of Korea for a long time. Meanwhile, Jungkook is said to be in contract talks to extend his active life as a soloist under a major American label. These facts add to the unrest of fans who have always wanted only one thing: BTS to stay together. Returning to that emotional moment, Taehyung's statement not only shook BTS's internal structure, but also revealed how vulnerable the members felt even though they looked strong on the outside. "I don't want us to pretend to be happy when we're not. We've been through a lot together, but I want honesty. If we want to be together, it has to be with a whole heart," Taehyung said in a video that has now gone viral. This statement was like an alarm for everyone that honesty in a group as big as BTS also turned out to have a price. Jungkook, having managed to calm down, reveals that he feels guilty for not realizing that Taehyung has so many wounds. "I think I was always there for him, but maybe I never really listened," Jungkook said, staring blankly ahead. Meanwhile, RM, known as a wise leader, tried to mediate the atmosphere. He affirms that every member has the right to express his feelings and that honesty is the foundation of a long-term relationship. However, he also did not deny that BTS is in the most fragile phase of their history. The fact that all 7 members are now living different career trajectories is a challenge. Jeon and J-Hope, who have just returned from military service, are said to feel awkward with the new dynamic. Suga, who had always looked calm, simply nodded and said, "Maybe this is the right time to rethink everything." What's really going on behind the scenes at BTS? Why are moments of reunion that should be full of joy instead filled with tears and bitter confessions? And the most painful, is it true that BTS will end everything soon? If you look deeper, Taehyung's statement is not the first to hint at the cracks in BTS's togetherness. In previous interviews, he has stated that he feels limited in his expression and that he wants to seek artistic freedom, without always having to be in the shadow of global expectations of BTS. During one of his live sessions last year, Taehyung even said, "Sometimes I want to go to a place where no one knows BTS." The statement now feels like pieces of a puzzle that have finally come together. Taehyung's decision to open up old wounds during the reunion, in front of the other members and indirectly to the rest of the world, is a very brave, but also a big risk. Jungkook's reaction is proof that his impact was profound, but hope has not completely disappeared. At the end of the reunion session, after a long silence and stifled sobs, Jungkook got up from his seat, approached Taehyung and hugged him tightly. In the embrace, the camera had time to capture the moment when the two whispered to each other. Many speculated that Jungkook said, "I'm not going anywhere without you." Is the hug a symbol that they can still survive? Or is it precisely a sign of a painful breakup? BTS has always been known as a group that is able to rise from various crises. From accusations of plagiarism early in their careers, to international pressure, to the pandemic that canceled their world tour, BTS always had a way to survive and grow stronger. But this time, the threat is not from the outside, but from the inside. Invisible wounds, a sense of buried loss, and the need for personal space become invisible enemies that can destroy everything. Now the world can only wait. Will there be an official statement regarding the future of BTS? Or will this reunion be the final chapter in a story that has changed the history of world music? One thing is for sure, Jungkook's tears are not just an ordinary sad expression. It was the language of a deep fear of losing something most precious. And when Taehyung speaks the truth, he's not just speaking to the 6 people around him, but to the millions of hearts that have made BTS a part of their lives. Whether BTS will stay together or eventually choose each other's paths, only time can tell. But until that time comes, the world will continue to remember this moment as the day when BTS was no longer just about music and the stage, but about painful wounds, love, and honesty. However, behind the emotional waves and overwhelming anxiety that overwhelm the virtual universe, the real facts are slowly beginning to unfold. After a more in-depth search, various clarifications from reliable sources began to appear one by one. And this is the turning point of the sensational news, that the news about Taehyung revealing a shocking fact at the BTS reunion, causing Jungkook to cry, turned out to be untrue and greatly exaggerated. An internal source from HYB finally gave official confirmation that the viral footage had been cut and manipulated from its true context. The emotional conversation in the video was part of BTS members' personal reflection sessions on their journey over the past decade. During the session, Taehyung did express his feelings openly, but there was no statement about him wanting to leave the group, feeling distant from the other members, let alone mention that BTS would be disbanding. The clarification also mentioned that Jungkook's tears did not come from pain or sadness over Taehyung's words, but because the reunion moment was very touching. After a long time of each other's activities and separated due to military obligations, they can finally sit together again, reminisce about past struggles, and express longing for each other. These emotions were what made Jungkook, a figure who had been known to be strong, finally unable to hold back tears. He cries not because of conflict, but because of deep love and longing. Furthermore, in a live broadcast made by RM a few days after the commotion, he confirmed that the BTS reunion moment had no other purpose than to celebrate their friendship that has existed for more than 10 years. RM bluntly mentioned that there was no talk of disbanding the group, let alone a surprise decision from Taehyung as it was widely disseminated. "We're just human beings who miss each other. Not all crying is due to separation. Sometimes it is a proof of how valuable our relationship is," said RM in the broadcast. Not only that, Taehyung himself finally opened his voice through the weverse platform and wrote a short but meaningful message. He thanked the army for its concern, but also asked for understanding that not all private conversations should be made public consumption. He added that he never felt far from the other members and was very grateful to be able to reunite with them after such a long time. Taehyung confirmed that BTS is his home, and he never intended to leave the house. Jungkook also responded to the outstanding issues. In a limited interview conducted with Japanese media, he said that the reunion moment was one of the most precious moments in his life. He felt very emotional because he could go back to seeing the faces that had been with him since adolescence. Jungkook also denied reports that he felt hurt by Taehyung's remarks. "I cried because I was happy, because we can still sit together and laugh like we used to," he said calmly. These statements of the members managed to break all the rumors that over the past few days have taken possession of social media and discussion forums. However, on the other hand, this case also opened the eyes of the public that the manipulation of information in the digital age is very easy to happen. A video cut without complete context can drastically change the meaning and burn the emotions of millions of people in just a matter of hours. A number of Korean entertainment industry analysts even assess that this incident is a real form of how vulnerable major artists are to media framing and third-party manipulation. Many of them reminded that fans should not immediately believe viral content without official clarification, especially when it comes to the iconic group BTS, which has repeatedly proved the strength of their union. From all this chaos, one important lesson can be drawn. Honesty and openness are important, but they must always be accompanied by responsibility in conveying information. BTS's emotional moments are supposed to be beautiful reflections of true friendship, not sensationalist tools that trigger mass panic. Now, with all the clarifications that have been submitted, fears of a BTS split are slowly starting to subside. The army again closed ranks, not in panic, but in a spirit of togetherness. They now know that although time, distance, and busyness sometimes separate, the relationship between the members of BTS is much stronger than any rumors the outside world could make out. BTS did not disband. Taehyung didn't give up. Jungkook didn't cry out of hurt, but out of love. And the reunion that took place was not the beginning of a breakup, but rather proof that this family, in the form of 7 young South Koreans who have changed the world, is still solid and will continue to move forward together.